Hey guys, it's Marcus Swenson with the Horror Junkies of Utah coming at you today to talk about The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 5. Now what? Now shitty now? I mean, I just don't know how to put it.
That's what I call a bad episode.
Right? It was, and this is where I don't get it. Okay, so I remember last episode and we talked about it and everything, and it was so good. So am I just judging this episode so harshly because I'm comparing it to the last episode, or was it just a straight filler episode with garbage?
Oh, it was. All right, so as you know, I'll take notes and stuff, things I want to talk about as we're watching it. One of the things I pointed out halfway through is a lot of people call the show a soap opera for adults. This episode was a soap opera. This had 6 or 7 plot points going on. None of them went anywhere, but it was, here's 40 minutes of filler, 6 or 7 different stories that you don't care. I mean, I don't care about Carl's crush. Why did you spend 6 or a segment on something that would be in a Nickelodeon teen dramedy show? I don't fucking care.
I totally agree. So like you said, we had a ton of subplot little things going in this that went absolutely nowhere. We have the whole lesbian thing going on with the doctor and what's her bucket, but that didn't go anywhere. I mean, you remember that scene, right?
Yeah, it starts with her, I'm not a doctor, I'm a bad doctor, and then I fucking did it. It's the end of the world, let's bang. Like, I don't care. These are characters that I don't have any attachment to, and that's the problem. I'm sure as we go through the episode we talk more about it, but the thing is, this episode focused on people I don't care about.
Exactly.
And no one cares about, and we don't have this background, this dramatic thing about Aaron. I don't give a shit. He's just some dude at this point.
So
some of the characters that we actually care about.
Can I talk about the one thing that bothered me, and that from the very beginning of the episode I knew it was going to be a shit episode, and the thing that bothered me was, so Rick is hauling ass back to Alexandria, like, oh, open the fucking gate, man, they're out here, ah! Opens the gate. We don't see anything of Morgan, anything of Michonne, anything of Carl. These, principal characters that I would think would come up to Rick and be like, yo, this happened, man. It's like, hey, welcome back. Fucking people are dead. And,
See, I had the opposite. I thought from the beginning of this episode, it was going to be a great episode. And it's because you see Deanna's face. She just has this dead, oh my god, these things actually exist. I can't believe. And maybe she just thought Rick was the only one who made it out. But I thought it was...
Or maybe she's just been in denial for so long.
Right. But I mean, it brought out to the light just how unprepared that these guys were in Alexandria. And I think she was kind of realizing that. And so I was actually, oh man, this is going to be a really controversial controversial between the groups, not...
Now I get that.
Just like a lot of, oh my god, these guys were right. There's a lot of horrible, scary shit out there. Like, there's like thousands of these guys just chasing this one dude, and he's the only one he left with like 10 people. Oh god, we're so fucked. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. There's gonna be a lot of bantering between the Alexandria people and the non-Alexandria people, and there's gonna be fighting within the other groups and all this zombie action, and none of it happened.
And that's what I thought. So I got to take it back a little bit. I was very excited at the maybe the first minute and a half of the episode, seeing Rick running back with all these zombies and all this. But once the gates are closed and we start to actually begin the episode after our titles roll, because then everything happens, and you get the the music and all that. After that, it started to fall flat for me, because I was like, where are all these key characters that need to be explaining what happened? And I didn't even feel like Rick got an explanation of what happened.
Oh, yeah. That was just, Rick's caught in a camper. What's going to happen? Oh, he's running. So maybe he'll explain that in the next episode, but it's just, oh, he's stuck in an RV. He just killed those wolves. Oh my God, what's going to happen? He has this frightened look on his face. He thinks he's fucked up. What's going to happen? Oh, okay, he's just going to be running, being chased by zombies, and he got out, everybody. He got out.
He did. But here's one thing that I do think that this is like just a little like conspiracy theory I got going on in my mind. But so I think that they are going to make us keep questioning, is Glenn alive? Is Glenn alive? Is Glenn alive? And this is my thing. Like, this is just my theory. I don't know if it's true. It's probably not. This is just how whacked out my mind goes. But I'm thinking they're going to keep us on this plane of asking every episode, is Glenn alive? And then in the season finale, yes, Glenn is alive, but, oh, your buddy Daryl fucking died, you know, because we don't know any news on any of these characters.
Do you mean Daryl or do you mean Nicholas?
No, Daryl.
Okay.
Because Daryl's also out there, and we don't know any news on him either, though.
Okay.
We don't know any news on Daryl. We don't know any news on a ginger guy. Oh, God, what's his name?
There's Abraham.
Yeah.
And there's Nicholas, and Shasha?
I can't pronounce her name.
I think that's her name. I'm not sure. She's that interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But we got all those characters out there, and we literally, as this little enclosed group in Alexandria, we don't really know what happened to any of them. When we were left off, it was kind of self-explanatory. They're still leading the horde away, but who knows? I mean, now we have another episode with no even appearances for many of these people. But, yeah, whatever. I just think I think AMC's playing mind games, but I don't think they're doing it the right way.
Well, the thing that sucks, and it's not the show's fault, but they've already leaked photos of upcoming scenes from seasons, and we know that Glenn's alive. And so all of this has no payoff for anyone who cares to actually look into more than what they see on the show, because we already know, and it's not their fault, but there's no
do we? Are you talking about the Glenn photos, the leaked photos of Glenn?
Yeah, where he's hanging out with Jesus and other in future seasons.
Maybe it's his zombie that Jesus just conquers.
Yeah,
but he wasn't in makeup. I don't know. I totally agree with you, though.
So much. It's just like the first person you list, where's Glenn at? And, writing the names on the wall, where's Glenn? There's so many allusions to Glenn, and it's not their fault, but I'm waiting for he miraculously made it out, do sex machina bullshit that's sure to come.
And that's the thing that I either think. So I think this show's going to two scenarios here. One is Glenn does come back, or the other is they've been trying to trick us along so far, thinking Glenn's going to come back, and they just kill him somehow, anyways. But if they bring, it's like there's no win with me. If you bring Glenn back, I'm pissed. If you don't bring him back, why all this attention on his name and where he's at? You know what I mean?
Okay, I think I have an answer for that.
Okay.
The small little, of course, it was a small scene in the movie, but the whole thing about Maggie being pregnant, which they're playing off so terribly in this.
It was bad. We learned she's pregnant in a sewer, for Christ's sakes.
I don't want to be one of those fucking dicks who. So the comics did it better. There was so much turbulence in the comics about Maggie being pregnant. Herschel tells Glenn, hey, don't knock her up. This is a horrible place. There's monsters everywhere. Don't bring a child into this world. And then they're fighting about how she wants a baby. Glenn doesn't want a baby. In the comics, Maggie actually tries to kill herself because she gets so depressed over this. And she, of course, lives. And then they're fighting because Glenn doesn't want to have sex now. And she wants to have sex. She wants to have a baby. And then finally they figure that out. She ends up getting pregnant. She gets pregnant, and then Glenn dies. So they play it off where it's this whole long-running kind of conflict between the characters. Just feels like it was thrown in. It was played like Glenn's dead. Okay, how can we make it worse? Oh, all of a sudden Maggie's pregnant. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Man, there'll be a lot of...
Hang on, so are you going on the thought of that Glenn really is dead?
Characters. God, it's just... There was no build-up to it. It's just, oh, by the way, carrying a little Glenn spawn.
Yeah, I totally agree. We got this huge episode, this Now episode, and let's get back on track with this episode. We kind of got off on a tangent, but that's okay.
Oh, we just got to the part where they opened up the gates. I mean,
we've only talked about we are seriously going like over 10 minutes now, and we haven't even covered the first fucking 2 minutes of the episode.
Okay, so back on track.
But I totally agree with you, though, because it was... I mean, there's not much to talk about in this episode because it was boring filler stuff, but even the things that were supposed to, like, stand out, like, when she said, oh, I'm pregnant, I was like, okay, that's, like, very nonchalant, you know? Like, oh...
I do have to give him credit for this, though, that scene of Aaron hugging Maggie with all the walkers behind him. I thought that was a really cool shot. There's my compliment for the episode of him giving her a hug, and you see all the walkers, and they're kind of peeking through the grates of the sewers. It pans back. I thought that was an excellent shot.
So
it's not all the good stuff I have to say for the episode, but I love that shot. I thought it was fantastic.
It was, and but so back to this episode. Right. Where did we leave off? Well,
we had gotten to the part where they let everybody in, and then we saw Spencer, Deanna's son, fighting with the other people in Alexandria about the food.
Yes.
Needing to ration the food. And that kind of...
Now, so psychologically, do you think that these people are so damaged now because now they're... To me, I mean, we've followed this as a viewer audience. This is like no big deal. Okay, there's zombies outside. I mean, we've seen this in the prison type thing. But these people are devastated by the idea that there's zombies like banging on their walls. And that is one thing that I think I did enjoy about this episode is, yeah, they put a lot of extras with no really character involvement. Like, I don't even care about them, but it was nice to see that you have these people that their mindset is still to, oh, the world's okay, I live in sunshine and rainbows, and now, no, it's not, give me all that food now.
Right, and that's kind of like why I thought the episode was going to be really good, and I was like, fuck, they're just going to go on about Glenn. Okay, pull me back, because this is, again, alluding to the fact that these guys just have no idea what the real world has now become. And at first, I thought, maybe the Spencer guy gets it. Maybe he understands this whole zombo thing, that we got to be careful. It's not the end of the world. We just have to play our cards right. And then, of course, she turned around and was like, oh, fuck them. I'm going to take the food then. Someone has to do it. Might as well be me.
Right?
So,
then he's also... Don't we find him later? He's also getting drunk or something.
Yeah, that's the scene I was talking about where... she's like, are you drunk? He says, oh, I'm trying to, or something along
Get out of the room, Mom!
Yeah, get out of my room. But it really hit home that no one is prepared, and even him, after seeing what he saw and shooting the truck driver, and just no one is, in this town, is ready for what's really out there. And again, I'm back on board with this episode. This is going to be great. We're going to get to more people crabbing at each other, and I can only think of one episode that comes to mind, or one scene from the episode that comes to mind that kind of reinforced that. But by then, I was done.
What was that scene?
When we see the woman, the zombie, the woman who commits suicide, she slit her wrist and she slams on the window, and Alexander Breckenridge is just like, fuck you, stabbed you. This is what life is. There's a bunch of these zombos out there, and it is what it is. But, I mean, by then, I honestly checked out of the episode. It was just about how much more angry can I get about what's going on.
And I did, too. So, I know, like, myself, I am a Comcast Xfinity subscriber, so I get the episodes very late. It's kind of bullshit. I called him up and argued with him about it. Like, it's just in our contract. It airs at 10 with us. I was like, well, so I have to watch him the next day because I get up early for work, and I'm a pussy like that. Now I'm an old asshole that cannot stay up till 10 and watch these episodes. But that being said, I usually will get done with my morning work and watch the episode and have it done in an hour. That wasn't the case with this. I got bored. I kept turning it off, and I had to keep coming back to it. And I was talking to you and vice versa about, you finished it yet? And then you were like, finally I'm done. I'm like, I didn't finish the episode, and I watched it all day, but I didn't finish it till 4 o'clock because I was so bored. And then you were like, what'd you think? I was like, I fucking hated it. And you're like, God damn it, I was supposed to hate it.
Well, like I said, what killed me is, so we got this thing with Spencer drinking the alcohol, and Deanna is just like, you fucking do it, and someone's got to do it. And it was immediately, it's like, fuck, all right, cool, we're back on track. Next scene is Carl getting in a love triangle quarrel
with her ex.
My girlfriend, no, that's my girlfriend. They just shove each other, and I couldn't take it seriously. It's
I seriously, the whole time,
It's just junior high drama in this.
And that is exactly what I felt. I thought I was watching the Disney Channel, man. Like, what? Am I watching The Walking Dead or some fillers that they just took from other TV shows? Like, what's going on?
So, there is one question I have from that, though, because she kind of showed up. She was always, dirty, scraggly. Do you think she's just a wanderer, or do you think she's actually a wolf?
So if you go back to the episode JSS, I think that we get to see a lot from her that a lot of people kind of just threw to the wayside, but we see like where she came from. My question is though, we see all the way up to her eating that turtle and stuff, and then we don't get anything but her arrival to Alexandria.
Right.
But that being said, after the fact, so she arrives at Alexandria. What happened in between? That's my big thing.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I was thinking about it because she just kind of showed up unannounced, obviously. And then it's gone as soon as the wolves are gone. And she never looked clean. She never looked like she had showered. She had very much the dress and garb of those guys. I don't know. I don't think she is. But it was just something that kind of entered into my mind. I'm trying to make the best of a bad situation watching that horrible scene.
In my honest opinion, though, I think there's something going on with her character because she's so subtle in this series so far that I think they're going to make something big out of her. But her whole thing about sneaking out and coming back and sneaking out, coming back that we learned about earlier. Why are you sneaking out and coming back? Is it just because you feel like you're trapped behind walls and you want to live more? Kind of like that, live on the edge, be dangerous? Or are you providing intel? And why did you leave this note for Carl right before this all happened? Did you fall in love and you're actually an enemy spy? Like the spy fell in love with the enemy type thing? I don't know. That's an interesting question, though, that you bring up, and it makes me think more, and I'm like, but I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I'm going to make the best of a terrible scene.
The other thing I have a question for is what happened to the dude that Morgan let live? Is he still locked up?
Yeah, I would guess that he's still locked up. At first I thought maybe the zombie later on in the episode was him, but it clearly wasn't.
That's what I thought.
Ends up killing, but that dude had he looked more like Abraham, had the goatee, kind of.
But let's talk about then. So Deanna confronts this zombie that, according to Rick, well, I talked to Carol and she killed someone, but it wandered off somewhere, and we were searching everywhere for it. Must have come from right there. Like, oh, okay, Rick, you knew exactly where it came from now. But does that show the weakness of this Alexandria group? They don't even know how to kill The Walking Dead or the Zombos, whatever. She's stabbing this thing repeatedly in the chest.
Right.
And does that come from the fact that she doesn't know how to kill this thing? Or her emotions are just so far wound up that she's just like, I fucking hate you!
I think it's more of the latter. I think it's more of the frustration, because there was clearly no thought going into it. It was just stabbing wildly and yelling. I don't think that she knew, kill the head, destroy the brain kind of thing. But I think there was more rage there than the whole calm survives, panic dies mantra. She was just, I'm furious. Here I go. Stab, stab, stab. As many times as I can.
Here with this beer bottle or whatever it was.
Yeah, the liquor bottle.
So, I just don't have any really great things to talk about this episode because it was all over the place. So many subplots. What was one thing you took away from this episode, if anything, that actually had any value?
Well, I think one of the things that we were talking about before we came on was the references to other episodes. And this is going to turn into another question, so I apologize already.
No, you're fine.
We talked about, the Michonne thing of you don't know what blood's yours and what blood's your friends.
Yeah.
And then the stuff that I've, of course, missed in the last podcast with Morgan and the bullet and the hot sauce that he left at the altar when he came to find Rick at the church. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know, because there were two callbacks from previous episodes. The first one was when we see Deanna writing on the map. At first I thought maybe she's writing on some paper. It turned out to be the map that her husband gave you, and he had said something about, you'll keep this in case of emergency, or you'll need this again. And so I was wondering what she wrote because that comes into play at the end of the episode where you see the blood seeping through the barricades.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was wondering if maybe she, in her rage that she took out on that zombie, maybe it's something that she's almost wanting to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Like she just wants the zombies to come in?
She just, like that blind rage almost of, fuck it, bring it on, fuck you guys kind of mentality she showed. She got the map, the plan, and there's just this long shot on the gate. And I mean, I'm not a gate or wall architect, so I don't know if maybe we're showing something structurally damaged, but there had to be some significance to her, not just using the map that her husband gave her, who built the wall, and that long shot on the wall.
No, I totally agree, and here's where I'm going to go with this, and I don't think there's any play on it or anything, but so the prolonged scene on the gate and her sitting there at the gate, this happens in a movie, a George A. Romero movie, if you've seen it, Day of the Dead.
Right.
And we have this guy who's gone through so much turmoil and ends up getting his fucking arm cut off and stuff. And he goes up out of this missile silo and goes to the gate and he gets up against it next to the zombies. And he's like, thinking. And then at the very end of the movie, he lets them all in. And he basically commits suicide, lets them eat him. And I got that vibe when I seen her doing that. And maybe that's just because I've seen that movie a bunch of times. I'm like, yo, are you going to, let these people in because you're just giving up all hope on your community and you're like, let's just have everyone die now rather than live in this hell of thinking we're going to live?
I mean, it's a common trope. I mean, it's even something that they brush up on in Shaun of the Dead as a trope when the gates of the doors of the Winchester go flying open and he lets the zombies in because he's just going to run out there. I can't think of Dylan Moran is the actor. I can't think of the name of his character in that show. And then, I mean, it's even spoofed in the Dead Rising video game when the woman has the poodle outside of the mall and she opens up the door. So it's one of those common tropes. And so I think that's kind of where I was coming at too. It was just. So
do you kind of agree then? Do you think she'll ever be able to get her mind back on track, or do you think she's a lost cause?
It's hard to say because we're speculating, but my guess is she's lost cause in the sense of I don't think she wants anything to do with being in charge of these people anymore. Which, when she came in, the other callback was the pie in the sky reference. She says, "Is this just a pie in the sky dream, Rick?" She said something like that in season 5 when she's interviewing them and about how I think this is just a pie in the sky kind of dream that I have.
Well, doesn't Rick? I think he says no, it's not.
Right, but again, I think Rick's trying to comfort her because I don't think Rick wants to be in charge either, and I think it's just because that's how Rick kind of plays it. He wants to build up her confidence. Maybe not so much doesn't want to be in charge. I know he wants to be the one who calls the shots,
but he doesn't want to be the main.
Kind of hard to. I don't think he wants to be in charge of all these people that he clearly doesn't think are fit to make it.
True.
I do like that you mentioned the Day of the Dead though, because the first thing I thought of when they were in the sewers and Maggie and Aaron got attacked by those zombies was the really weird burnt zombie from Return of the Living Dead.
Are you talking about the Tar Man?
Yeah, that's what I thought of.
Yeah, I did too. I thought of Tar Man, and I was like, what in the hell is it? It's like, they don't have, obviously, like, okay, I'm not trying to be a medical genius or anything, which I'm not, but they're so far rotted, they don't even have muscle definition. How are they even standing? It was like a skeleton.
Well, and maybe they're referencing not just Return of the Living Dead, but movies like Army of Darkness.
Like, these things are walking on their own will. Oh, man. Anyways, so anything else about this episode? I mean, we got the ending. What did you think of the ending? Did it just fall flat for you?
Yeah, it did. Like I said, much like you, I kind of checked out. It was the whole Nickelodeon.
Yeah, you're right. This is AMC's The Walking Dead special. We're airing this on Nickelodeon for all you younger kids.
But I mean, like I said, this was... a lot of people say Walking Dead's a soap opera, and my answer is no, because it's a drama, and it's, soap operas are dramatic, and the show has to have drama in it because it's an AMC drama. I mean, Mad Men had a lot of drama in it, Breaking Bad had a lot of drama in it, Sons of Anarchy had a lot of drama, and it doesn't mean they're bad or good or soap opera, it's just the type. But I mean, this episode had Maggie finding Glenn, Rick leading in the zombies, the nervous doctor, Spencer fighting with his mom, Carl's in love, the town folks having to deal with the zombies.
It even has Rick finally getting his new love.
Yeah, it's just this is total soap opera. And anyone who tries to say, "Oh, it's not," fuck you. Yes,
it is. We don't care, man. You need to rewatch the episode. If you can watch this episode twice, I give you props because it was so boring. I literally felt like I was watching like General Hospital or one of those old school 90s soap operas.
Remember last week when we were talking about the episode and you said, if you haven't seen this episode, pause this, go watch the episode, come back, and listen to the podcast. Go ahead. If you haven't watched this episode, don't worry about it. We've covered everything you ever need to know. It's
so true though. And before I got talking with you on this, and because you were busy, but I looked up some other people's reviews. I was like, okay, am I the only one that thinks this way besides Alex? Because you were like, I have to be the motherfucking mad one. But I wasn't. I looked up a couple and people had good points. Totally, this is an unworthy episode. You can skip it and you will miss nothing except the fact that Maggie's pregnant.
Well, of course, but I mean, that's going to be brought up again. It's not something that, it's, I'm going to tell Aaron this is the only time it's going to be brought up. Because now they're going to harp on him, he's gone. She's so pregnant, he's so gone. And I was really hoping that in the lettering on the side from all the people's names it said, fuck this episode.
I know, that was... And so in the end, we just see him erasing names, right? Just from the wall.
Yeah, they're erasing Nicholas and Glenn's names. Stop alluding to it. You fucked it up.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing, though. They're being like, we are going to bring Glenn back. But anyways, this episode just fell very flat. But I am very flattered about all the views we got on our last one. It's awesome. Thanks for the support and thanks for viewing it. I'm doing a little competition now with our other podcasters. They're doing American Horror Story, and I want more views than them, and I'm calling them out. You guys, go ahead. Let's do it. Let's keep this popularity thing going. But, quick question for you. Have you seen any of the American Horror Stories yet?
I only watched one of the new seasons, but I'm caught up through the rest of, I think, 1 through 4. I've watched one episode of the new season. That's it.
So, you've only watched one of the new season. What did you think of it then?
I don't know. Hit or miss. I mean...
For me, I think...
I don't really like Lady Gaga, and from everything I've heard, it's very sex-driven, and basic cable sex. I mean, if I just want to watch people banging, I'll go to, Pornhub or something. I mean, it's very gory, and it seems to be almost all over the place, but it's the first episode, so it could be setting up a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really worried that there's going to be a lot of really cheesy musical numbers. So if you're listening to this and there's not, just put that in the comments. I hated Freak Show because of all the musical numbers, and the last episode of season 3 was terrible with that opening montage of the witches getting ready, and that was fucking horrible.
So I am, personally, I feel bad for my co-hosts, Eddie and Tracy. We're the main little trio on all these reviews and stuff, and I feel bad for them because I'm watching every episode as well, and I'm just like, oh god, what do you guys talk about? Because it's just shock. That's all it is.
I like that you're saying that and not listening to them. It's like, I wonder what they talk about.
No, I mean, I do listen. I listen to their episodes, but I guess what I'm getting at is I don't know what I would talk about, and I hear what they talk about, and it's good. And I don't even know why I'm bringing this up in a Walking Dead episode, besides just to create the challenge of let's get more viewers for ours over yours. I just like the little bit of what would I use? The competition. But personally, I think the latest American Horror Story is shock value. And it's very hard to talk about that, so I give him a lot of props. Because we got all these, side story things going on, and they got a lot of shock value, and I just don't know how they do it, but they do it, and they're amazing.
I listened to the first one because I don't want to listen to the episodes that I haven't watched yet. I really enjoyed the first one, so I'll eventually get caught up.
Oh, they do a good job, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know how they do it, because if I was the one in charge of the American Horror Story podcast, it would not work well.
We've been talking for 20 minutes, half an hour about easily the worst episode of the season of The Walking Dead. So you can find material in anything, man.
But anyway, so shout out to Tracy and Eddie for doing the American Horror Story podcast. And this is me and Alex, and we are the Horror Junkies of Utah. I think we covered the shittiness of now the shittiest episode we've ever aired.
Well, not the worst, but hands down the worst of the season.
Definitely.
No question.
So any last thoughts on this, Alex?
I'm hoping that the people who didn't like the episode last week with Morgan and Eastman can appreciate how great of an episode that was after watching this one. I'm really hoping that people will say, I was totally wrong, this is what a shitty episode looks like. There's very little story, there's very little action, there's very little anything going on except things that raise my blood pressure level. And the last one was brilliant.
That is the thing I think they really screwed themselves on, and it was you put such a shitty episode after such a great episode. Such good story writing, such good dialogue, such good life meaning. And then we get this shit? Did you just fire your writer halfway through? I don't even know who wrote this episode. I know there's different people on each one, but this guy needs to get canned.
So, if you were listening to this podcast, and you didn't like the episode last week, fuck you. This is a bad episode.
Yeah, right?
Go play draft or something. Fuck you.
I love it. Anyways, we are the Horror Junkies Utah. I am Marcus, and I have my guest on this series,
Alex.
You guys have a great night. Be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check us out on Instagram, and leave your comments below. If you think me and Alex are full of shit, tell us why. I want to know why you like this episode. If not, I got Alex waving his hands all at me in this both hands. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful night. We will see you next week when we talk about the next episode. I hope it capitalizes over this one and we can all forget about this mess. Anyways, have a great night. Bye-bye.